weren't supposed to be here. Yet here you are, a dry place, a silent place, a place where everything you depended on has dried up, where the voice of God feels distant and every door seems sealed. You cry, you pray, but nothing moves, nothing changes. And worst of all, you're starting to believe this is your new reality. But what if I told you? This desert isn't your punishment, it's your preparation. It's not the end of your story, it's where your story is being rewritten. Many people talk about the miracles of Moses, the Red Sea, the plagues, the fire, the tablets, but few truly understand the desert he walked through before ever lifting a staff. And even fewer realize that one particular psalm, a cry soaked in dust and desperation, reveals the exact condition of your heart right now. Yes, you watching this. There are seasons when God does not respond with fire, thunder, or immediate answers. Instead, He waits. He waits for your soul to crack open, so He can rebuild it from the inside out. Right now, you're not just in a desert of circumstance, you're in a desert of identity. The question burning in your heart is not, when will this end? It's, who am I in this? That's where this message begins. And it's not just a message, it's a rescue. Because the desert has a map, and that map was buried inside the Word. A prophetic psalm that doesn't just speak about pain, it exposes yours. But be warned, what you're about to hear may shake your beliefs, because God is not who religion painted, and deserts are not just punishment, they're design. What if the very silence you're resenting is God preparing you for the mountain? This is not a sermon. It's a prophetic confrontation, a deep, personal revelation between your spirit and the one who called you. If you feel like you've been walking in circles, if you're tired of praying and hearing nothing, if you've lost your voice, your vision, your way, stay with me. Because before this video ends, we will open the very psalm that has been following you in silence. And when we do, you'll no longer see the desert as a place of exile, but as the sacred ground where your identity will be reborn. Right now, I want you to write this in the comments. God, if this is my desert, then meet me in it. This prophetic phrase will break the chains of spiritual silence and declare your readiness to encounter God in this message. And if this video is speaking directly to your spirit, help us reach more lives. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. It tells YouTube that this message is sacred and not offensive, and helps spread the word of God to those lost in their deserts. Let's walk together, because the moment you truly understand where you are, God will show you where you're going. You didn't choose this desert. You didn't wake up one day and say, let everything dry up, let my prayers echo in silence, let my soul feel forgotten. But still, it happened. And now you're here, in a place that feels like exile, where no one understands your pain, where everything that once comforted you is now out of reach. But listen carefully. What you call abandonment, I call assignment. This desert didn't come to destroy you, it came to reveal you. Even my servant Moses, mighty in power, fearless before Pharaoh, had to pass through a desert before he ever stood on holy ground. 40 years, not 40 days, not 4 weeks, 40 years of silence, sand, and self-questioning. And you? You've been here for months, maybe even years, wondering, did I do something wrong? Is God punishing me? Am I broken beyond repair? But I tell you this now, this desert is not the end. It's the door. You see, when I want to form a prophet, I lead them to solitude. When I want to purify a heart, I strip away every false comfort. And when I want to make someone unshakable, I take them through the storm without removing it. You don't need to understand everything now. You just need to stop running from it. Because what you're calling delay is where I'm building depth. What you're calling confusion is where I'm creating clarity. And what you're calling abandonment is where I'm laying the foundation for your awakening. Let this sink in. I never left you. This place, as painful as it feels, is not a punishment, it's a process. And every day you stay here, you're being prepared to walk in something far greater than what you lost. Your desert has a name. It's called transformation. Now stay with me, because in the next moment I will show you the psalm that unmasks your soul and reveals exactly why you're here. You've read many psalms. You've repeated verses like mantras, hoping that something would shift. But this one was different. It didn't just comfort you, it exposed you. I am like a desert owl, like an owl among the ruins. I lie awake. I have become like a bird alone on a roof. Psalm 102, 6, 7. Stop and read it again. It's not just poetic, it's prophetic. Because deep down, that's how you feel, isn't it? Like an owl in ruins, perched, alert, always watching, but never flying. You're alive but not moving, breathing but suffocating, surrounded but unseen. This is not just about sadness, it's about emptiness. And this psalm didn't come to wrap you in a blanket, it came to put a mirror in your hand. Moses had a moment like this, before he saw the burning bush, before he received the law, before he parted the sea. He had a moment where he said, "Who am I that I should go?" He questioned his identity, his calling, his worth, just like you. Because the desert doesn't just remove people from you, it removes your illusions. The illusions you built to prove you were strong, the smiles you forced to hide your exhaustion, the roles you played just to feel accepted. But now, here, you can't pretend anymore. The psalm unmasks you, not to shame you, but to awaken you, to say, yes, you are alone on that rooftop. Yes, your soul is dry like the ruins, but I see you. And more than that, I called you here because I don't heal who you pretend to be. I restore who you truly are. Stay with me, because in the next chapter I'll reveal why I led you into this desolate place that feels like a trap, but is actually a turning point. Why did God lead you to a place with no way out? You keep asking why. Why this pain? Why now? Why you? But the truth is, I didn't bring you here to answer your why. I brought you here to reveal your who. Because what looks like a trap is actually a training ground. This place with no exit, no map, no clarity. It's not punishment, it's preparation. Moses stood at the edge of the desert not because he sinned, but because he was chosen. The desert was not a detour, it was the only road to purpose. That moment when Pharaoh rejected him, that moment he fled in fear, covered in guilt, ashamed of his failure. That was me removing the Egypt from within him, because you can't lead others out of a land that still lives inside your heart. Listen to me now. What you call a place with no way out is exactly where I needed you to be. Why? Because here the noise is gone. Here you're no longer distracted by applause or opinion. Here your strength is stripped. And in that stillness, you begin to hear me clearly. I didn't want your performance, I wanted your surrender. Moses spent 40 years thinking he was somebody in Egypt, then 40 more years thinking he was nobody in the desert. Only then was he ready to discover what I had known all along. That with me, he was everything I needed to deliver a nation. You cry for me to open a door, but I cry for you to sit down and listen. You beg for escape, but I beg you to allow me to excavate what's buried beneath your pain. Don't mistake delay for denial. This desert isn't where you die, it's where you're reborn. In the next topic, I will show you why your prayers seem to hit the ceiling and what's really happening when heaven is silent. When you pray and nothing happens, the revelation behind the silence you've been speaking, crying, pleading, and yet heaven feels silent. Every prayer echoes back with no reply. It's as if I've hidden my face from you. But what if I told you that silence is not absence, it's strategy? Moses knew this feeling well. For 40 years he prayed without signs, not a voice, not a burning bush, not even a whisper. But I was not absent. I was crafting him in the secret place. I don't measure time like you do. You count minutes and feel pain in hours. I count transformation in surrendered hearts. There are moments I speak by not speaking, because silence has a voice too. It trains your ear to stop seeking noise and start seeking me. When Moses prayed and nothing changed, something deeper was shifting inside him. He learned that faith is not believing when things happen. Faith is believing when they don't. You think nothing is moving? Look closer. That silence taught you to dig wells in dry ground. That silence exposed every false hope and replaced it with truth. That silence broke your pride and built your dependence. Do you remember when you only sought me for answers? Now you seek me for presence. This is not a punishment. This is how I father my children, not with constant comfort but with purposeful pauses. The day I finally spoke to Moses in the burning bush was the day he no longer needed the fire to believe. He was already mine. And you? You are almost there. I am not ignoring you. I am initiating you into a deeper trust, because what's coming will demand faith that isn't shaken by feelings. In the next topic, I will take you to the mountain where my voice shatters the silence, and where I reveal that I've been calling your name all along. The voice that flows in the mountain. God is calling your name. Do you know why I called Moses by name? Twice? Moses. Moses. It wasn't out of forgetfulness, but to awaken him from an inner desert greater than the geographical desert. He was already on the mountain, but he wasn't yet desperate inside, because before you hear what I have to say, you need to consider that it is me speaking. Do you think you are in this desert by chance? Do you think this silence is protection? But I have been calling you with signs, with discreetly, with work in only certain doors. But your heart was still focused on returning to Egypt, to your old habits, to that which was predictable even though oppressive. On Mount Sinai, Moses saw the fire, but he didn't run. He moved. And that's what I want from you now. Don't run from something that seems frightening. Don't shy away from pain, because that's where my voice is. The fire doesn't consume the bush. And do you know why? Because my presence isn't vengeance for what is yours. It purifies what prevents you from living what is mine. It is on this mountain that I reveal the next step. It is on this mountain that I clear the way, not only from Moses' feet, but from your soul, so that you stop walking in fear and begin to walk in holiness and truth. Moses heard, "Take away the reserves, for the place where you are standing is holy." But don't you discover that even in the desert, I make the place holy when I am with you? Yes, it is there where you are now, this desert, this mountain, this solitude, that I use to create a new intimacy between us. It's not just about hearing my voice, it's about answering the call. And I am calling you, not to turn back, but to climb higher, to find purpose in the fire, direction on the mountain, and identity in the voice that never stopped calling you. In the next topic, I will show you that before the promise is fulfilled, there are invisible sins and prisons that need to fall. And perhaps that is what still holds you captive in the desert. The hidden sin that keeps you in the desert, it's not the desert that holds you captive. It's what you still carry within it. Have you ever wondered why you're still in this place, even praying, fasting, and trying to obey? It's because there are things hidden in your heart that need to come to light. Moses didn't enter the promised land. It wasn't because he lacked faith. It was because in a moment of anger, he struck the rock when I told him to speak to it. And how many times have I asked you to forgive and you struck? How many times have I told you to wait and you acted hastily? You don't realize it, but this behavior isn't so emotional, it's spiritual. They are marks of old wounds that you buried, but that still bleed silently. The people of Israel spent 40 years without a desert, but the problem wasn't the desert. It was their hearts. Hearts burdened, accustomed to Egypt, to the complaints, to the constant doubt about whether I was still with them. And now, look inside. Do you truly trust me? Or are you trying to manipulate your own paths while saying you are waiting for me? Hidden sin isn't always something visible. Sometimes it's pride disguised as spirituality. Sometimes it's resentment held back with an "I'm fine." Sometimes it's emotional dependence disguised as faith. I don't reveal these things to accuse you. I reveal them to set you free. Because as long as there is something in your heart that still belongs to Egypt, you will not be able to live the fullness of the promised land. And this desert won't end with a map. It will end when you become real. So now, ask me to bring to light what you don't even know is hidden. Ask me to search your heart as the psalmist did. See if there is any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. In the next chapter, I will show you why you are still clinging to things you should have let go of, and what Pharaoh symbolizes in your life today. When Pharaoh represents what you still need to let go. Pharaoh wasn't just a man. He was a system, a mentality, a voice that whispered, "You'll never survive without me." The people of Israel cried out for freedom, but when freedom came, they longed for the chains. Why? Because captivity felt safer than uncertainty. Pharaoh fed them, controlled them, gave them tasks, and in return they gave him their identity. And now look within. What is the Pharaoh you keep returning to? What is that toxic relationship, habit, or pattern you know God already broke? But emotionally, spiritually, you're still attached. Pharaoh today might be that voice in your head that says, "You're not strong enough. You'll never change. God is late." You had more before you followed Jesus. That Pharaoh speaks through fear, urgency, logic, and convinces you to retreat. But understand this, Pharaoh only had power over the people while they still believed in his authority. Once they followed the cloud and the fire, his voice became distant, his army drowned, and so will your emotional chains, if you choose to walk. But letting go is painful. That's why some of my children choose spiritual survival over divine purpose. They live on leftovers like in Egypt instead of manna, fresh and daily, like in the desert. What if you refuse to surrender? That addiction, that trauma you revisit every night, that bitterness that you renamed boundaries, that comfort zone where faith no longer grows. I'm not asking you to fight Pharaoh. I already did. I'm asking you to let go, to not look back, to move forward even when the ground beneath feels unstable. Because the promised land is not for those who miss Pharaoh, it's for those who are willing to walk by faith. And remember, freedom starts not at the Red Sea, but at the moment you decide Pharaoh is no longer your master. Next, I will reveal the unshakable truth. The pillar of fire is still standing, and I never left you. The pillar of fire is still standing, and I never left you. You thought I was silent because you couldn't feel me. You believed I had stepped away because the night got longer. But listen, I never moved. I was the same fire lighting your path even when the fog of fear tried to cover me. When my people wandered in the wilderness, lost and surrounded by dry ground, they had no map, no direction, no GPS, but they had me, a cloud by day, a pillar of fire by night, not just to guide, but to prove one thing: I never leave. You, child, have measured my presence by your emotions, but I am not your emotion. I am eternal presence. I don't depend on how you feel. I remain even when you collapse in doubt, rage, or numbness. I was there in your darkest night. I stood beside you when your prayers were just silent tears on the pillow. I was the warmth you felt when everyone else turned cold. The fire you thought had gone out. It was never extinguished. It was hidden, waiting for you to open your eyes again. Your desert didn't erase me. It revealed how much you needed to see me beyond miracles and feelings. The Israelites had me every night, visible yet still doubted. Don't fall into the same cycle. Look again. That moment when you almost gave up but didn't, that was me. That strength to forgive what nearly destroyed you, that was my fire. That sudden peace during the storm, it was the flame still burning. I never stopped guiding you. You just stopped believing I was still present. I don't disappear when you fall. I get closer. I don't run from your pain. I light it up with purpose. And when the enemy says you're alone, I roar like a fire and say, I am. Now hear me, the pillar is not behind you. It's ahead. Don't stop walking. Don't settle in the desert like it's your permanent address. You are not abandoned. You are accompanied. You are not wandering. You are being led. And this next truth will shake your soul. You're one step away from seeing the sea split. Do not give up now. You are one step away from seeing the sea part. Don't give up now. This is the moment most people stop, right before the miracle, even before the sea opens. They look ahead and see the impossible. They look back and see the past trying to catch up with them. And despair whispers, there's no way out. But now I, the Lord, speak to you. There is a way out, and it's called faith. That's exactly where Moses found himself, before a closed sea. Behind him, Pharaoh's army. Around him, despair. Inside him, a screaming crowd. But above him, I was. You feel trapped, I know. But what you call the end, I call a turning point. You've walked so far, you've cried so much, you've trusted even without seeing. And now it's one step, a single step of faith. A simple command that activates the supernatural. March. This is what I told Moses, and this is what I tell you now. March, even if you're afraid. March, even if you don't understand. March, because the sea doesn't part for those who give up. You're on a spiritual threshold, a critical point between giving up and seeing the impossible happen. And the enemy knows this. That's why he increased the weight, the confusion, the doubts, the attacks. He wants you to go back to Egypt, to the vices, to the prisons, to that which I have already freed you from. But today I place a spiritual staff in your hands, as I did with Moses. Raise it, declare faith, advance. The sea only opened after approval, after the step, after the cry of faith. And this is what I expect from you now. Courage not to retreat. You think you are silent, but I have already summoned the wind. I have already given orders to the sea. I have already moved invisible spiritual forces to open a path where there was none. There's only one thing missing. You continue, and when the sea parts, you will understand that all of this is worthwhile, that the desert wasn't a delay. It was preparation, that the pain wasn't punishment, it was refinement, that the waiting wasn't abandoned, it was aligned with the perfect timing of the promise. Now, listen, the next step isn't yours, it's mine. But you need to take your step first, and I will do what no man can do. And when everything opens up before you, you will have no doubt it was God. A prophetic prayer with the psalm that reveals your desert. Close your eyes, but not to escape. Close them to see better. Close your eyes to open your spirit, because at this moment I, the Lord your God, am here. And where I am, the desert transforms into a path. Pain transforms into healing. The downcast soul rises with the strength of a warrior. Today, I lead you to the psalm that reveals exactly where you are. Psalm 63. Yes, this is the mirror of your soul. O God, you are my God. Earnestly I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My whole being longs for you, in a dry and weary land where there is no water. Psalm 63:1. You are in that place, dry land, silence, hunger for answers, thirst for breakthrough, but continue. See what the next verse says. I want to contemplate you in the sanctuaries and behold your power and your glory. Psalm 63:2. Even in the midst of nothingness, you still seek me. I still cry out. I still believe. And that is why now, at this very moment, your prayer reaches the heavens. Pray with me now. with true faith. Lord, I can't take this desert anymore, but if this is where you will mold me, then break me and remake me. Empty me of everything that doesn't come from you. Silence the voices of fear, guilt, and the past, and speak to me, my God. Show me that you are still here. I consecrate this pain, this phase, this struggle, because I know at the end of this path there is liberation. And even if my eyes see no way out, my spirit believes your love is better than life. I will not stop. I will not turn back, because the Lord is in this desert with me, and where your spirit is, there is freedom. Now declare with your firm voice and your activated faith, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. And to seal this prayer, say with me the prayer that transcends generations, wars, deserts, prisons, and liberations. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Now write in the comments the prophetic phrase that seals this journey. I will not die in the desert. God is opening the sea for me. Share this video with someone who is also not in the desert. And if you want to receive more prayers and promises like this, subscribe to the channel right now. May God's presence go before you like a pillar of fire, and may each step from today onward bring you closer to the promised land.